Hi, my name is Blake, and I wanted to show you the 4-color Deathspeaker deck that I just took 4-0 at the local Reaper Games tournament here in Denton, Texas. Deathspeaker has the ability you may cast one dead minion each turn, and for 0 if you're on death's door. Whenever you summon a minion this way, banish it. And so really the main benefit of playing this Deathspeaker deck is the card advantage that you're able to gain by playing these cards with Genesis effects that you can use multiple times. And another benefit of being able to play 4 colors is that you get to play one of each of the cores. So we have a ruby, amethyst, aquamarine, and onyx core. And then to wrap it all off, we have the philosopher's stone, which each of these cores can net you 1 mana a turn and a threshold for the whatever threshold source that you might be missing. Philosopher's stone helps you get a lot of extra discounts on your cards. So we'll go ahead and set these aside. So we talked about card advantage. We talked about the minions there that help you gain that card advantage. The #1 top minion for helping you gain card advantage is going to be the Land Surveyor. And so this 2/1 here has the Genesis ability Draw a Sight. This enables you to be able to draw sights, draw spells on your turn rather than drawing sights. You can cycle these over and over to help you maintain that card advantage throughout the game. Similar to Land Surveyor, we're playing 3 of the Apprentice Wizard, which is a spellcaster and has the Genesis ability Draw a Spell. To be a little bit more defensive, we are playing 3 of the Vile Imps. Genesis may deal 2 damage to target adjacent unit. This is great for being either aggressive by dropping this down, hitting an opponent's avatar, but it's also really strong going against opponent's minions, and can help you gain some 2-for-1 card advantage in that way. An unsung hero of this deck is going to be the Fey Changeling, which has the ability it may be summoned to any site and has Genesis. You may return a minion here to its owner's hand. So this is an incredibly powerful effect that will enable you to either cycle through maybe your Land Surveyor or your Apprentice Wizard or your Vile Imp, allowing you to use that Genesis ability again. But what it really combos well with is going to be this Grand Master Wizard, which is for 6 mana, 0 power, spellcaster Genesis, draw 3 spells. Now, Genesis draw 3 is so much stronger in this game than it is in comparison to maybe Magic or Pokemon, or in those games where you start with 7 cards in your hand. Since you only start with 3 in sorcery, Grandmaster Wizard is almost like drawing 7 cards in those games. And so that's the kind of power level you have to think of when you first read Grandmaster Wizard. Another incredibly strong Genesis effect here is the Highland Princess, which has Genesis search your spellbook for an artifact that costs 1 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle, which really means go get either a threshold that you're missing that you need to be able to cast a card from this 4-color deck, or go get a Philosopher's Stone. The next Genesis effect is going to be the Titan here, which has Genesis strike each enemy here. This can be used aggressively or defensively, and so that's one reason why this build is a little bit stronger in my opinion than the Nimbus Gen build, is because the Titan here can be dropped either aggressively or defensively. You're not waiting to drop it and then discarding your hand to do a whole bunch of damage. Whenever you cast the Titan, it will strike and deal 6 damage there. So even if you drop it on top of an avatar, you can drop it, strike it for 6. The card that came probably most MVP in my Game 4 finals matchup is going to be this Ruler of Thule, which has charge, which is like haste and magic. And it says, allies can move as if the top and the bottom edges of the realm were connected. Other allies occupying sites there have +1 power. And so this enables you to go from the bottom of your map into the top of your opponent's. This is incredibly strong because if you look at the power level of these minions, a lot of 1 power, 2 power minions here. And if you use Ruler of Thule, this can help turn these, double the power in a lot of these cases, turning them into, 2/2s or 3/2s with these awesome Genesis battle effects. And so in my last game, the Deathspeaker turned into a little battle mage, and with its 2 power actually swung for 6 damage to help me close out the game, thanks to Ruler of Thule, because Ruler of Thule says allies, which would include your avatar. So that wraps it up for the minions. Switching it over to the magic, the spells that we have in the deck. Consistency is the name of the game here, which is why we're playing so many 3s and 4-ofs. But we are playing 4 of the common sense, which is search your spellbook for an ordinary card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. What makes this card so strong here is it actually can get more than just magics. It actually enables you to be able to go get some of your minions as well. So if you need to draw a site, boom, go get a land surveyor. If you're already set for the number of sites that you need, great. Go get an apprentice wizard. Or do you need to finish off a pesky threat? Awesome, go get Violent. Because we're playing common sense, this enables us to play several different one count magic cards as well that would be situationally really good and allows us to be able to search them whenever we need them the most. An example of that is going to be this disenchant here. Destroy all auras and artifacts at target location up to 2 steps away. With your apprentice wizard, grandmaster wizard being spellcasters, they can cast this disenchant here, getting rid of your opponent's cores or their philosopher's stone. Incredibly strong card. Another card that can be fetched by common sense is a 1 of Lightning Bolt. Deal 3 damage to a random unit at target location. This is great at being able to finish off and close out a game. It doesn't matter if you're nearby, if they're in a adjacent type of range, you can just drop a lightning bolt to finish off the game. And because of the common sense, you can typically find them whenever you need them. Another way to finish off the game, one strategy that I've seen a lot of people utilize recently is going to be stacking a whole bunch of minions on top of where their avatar is. Because of that, we're playing 2 of the Firebolts, which is shoot 3 projectiles in the same direction, 1 at a time. Each deals 1 damage. This would allow you to choose which target if they had multiple targets on the same location, and so this can help you finish off whenever there's pesky minions trying to decrease the chances of that random lightning bolt. The next magic to talk about here is going to be 3 copies of Bury, which is bury target minion or artifact if able. Don't underestimate the power of being able to bury an early philosopher's stone or the core to slow your opponent down. If you have multiple berries or a common sense to go get another berry, if there's a minion that you needed to remove later in the game, then you would be able to bury the stone and get a lot of value out of that. Moving over to some of the removal that we have in the deck as well is going to be, we're playing 2 of the Chaos Twister. And so this is a little bit of a different card. And so it says place target minion on the back of your hand, then blow it off from a height of at least 1 foot. Deal damage equal to the power of each unit atop the side it lands on, including itself, which enables you to go ahead and remove a creature and potentially damage a avatar or another creature that's on that site. Now this could be a card to continue to watch, as it is a little bit different in comparison to maybe a targeted damage spell like a Firebolt or a Bury. Having to hold this a foot ahead, and I did have to use this in game 4 to be able to remove a creature, is going to be something to watch to see how this continues to be used on competitive events. During the Sorcery League right now, there's already house rules that talk about rolling a d20 to help you determine where the site ends up going. But that'll be something to watch during competitive events. And so I'm curious to see what the Sorcery team does during the Gen Con tournaments, if they're going to do anything to adjust the Chaos Twister. But the next piece of removal here is going to be Earthquake, which says you may rearrange sites within a 2x2 area, carrying along everything of normal size, then burrow all minions, artifacts on those sites. Great piece of removal here. Can sometimes 2, 3, 4 for 1, depending upon how your opponents stack up their cards. last two cards here is going to be a Summoning Sphere, allowing you to be able to summon a minion to any affected site. This allows you to be able to aggressively drop a Ravenous Titan wherever would be able to be most beneficial for you, perhaps maybe on their avatar, for example. The last site or last magic here is going to be this aura, Atlantean Fate. It has relatively similar text to Earthquake. Affected non-ordinary sites are flooded. They are water sites. They only provide water threshold and lose all other abilities. Genesis submerge all minions and artifacts atop the affected site. Incredibly powerful card, especially in the mirror match. Turning off the threshold of your opponent's site is incredibly potent. So that is going to cover the minions and magic's auras within the deck. One neat piece of interaction that I wanted to share is going to be around the Philosopher's Stone and different spellcasters. And so Philosopher's Stone with a spellcaster like Grandmaster Wizard or the Apprentice Wizard, because these are both spellcasters, they can cast just like your avatar can. And if you cast one of these spellcasters on the same location as your avatar potentially holding a Philosopher's Stone can drop the stone. It can be picked up by a Grandmaster Wizard, cast spells, dropped again, picked up by an Apprentice Wizard, then dropped, and then later re-picked up by the avatar, allowing you to reuse the effect of Philosopher's Stone over and over again. So I could cast a Land Surveyor, drop it, cast another Land Surveyor, drop it, cast a Common Sense, getting the discount for each one of those. So incredibly powerful piece of interaction, or a way to be able to use the Philosopher's Stone and your spellcasters. So moving over here to our sites, I'll go ahead and put these away. So the sites, this is a 4-color deck, so a little bit of a unique site build. And this is something I'm going to be continuing to tweak over time. But we're going to start off with some of our duels. And so the cards that we're playing the most threshold of are going to be Earth and Air, which is exactly why we're playing 3 windmills. Same thing goes. We do have some fire spells, but we need the air threshold. And so we're playing 3 ruins, 3 steeps, all just for the threshold here. And we do have a couple, or a one of aqueduct that helps us get the earth threshold that we need, and also helps us out with some of that water threshold that we need as well. For sites, basic sites, we are playing 1 each of the different towers, lone, dark, and gothic. This just early mana ramp is super key and can help you continue to get and stay ahead of your opponent. I have been seeing a lot of roots recently, trying to reset and destroy the board. So we're just playing those singular bedrock right now. This is something I'm going to continue to look into. Is this something, I was playing 2 in the sideboard. Now these were best of 1 games, but I could definitely see looking to increase that in the future. Next is playing a River of Flame, Fire Spellcaster. Incredibly valuable card here because it is a spellcaster and a site. It occupies both the top and the burrowed part of the realm, allowing your River of Flame to shoot a projectile like a firebolt and hit a root spider, for example. Next, playing 4 colors, so you have to play the color out of space. Provides no mana threshold if not adjacent to the void. You're able to pretty much always play this into the void. You just need to be cautious of how you're laying your sites. I typically like to play that either on slot 18 or 16, a place that I know that I can go ahead and prevent a opponent from being able to turn off the threshold for that site. Because we're playing so many duels, and there's some that you might need one threshold over another, we are playing a mirror realm to help us get the threshold that we need for our sites. And the MVP, most underrated site in the deck, is going to be Floodplain. Floodplain, once during your turn, you may flood an adjacent site. Incredibly strong site because this enables you to flood maybe one of your opponent's sites and get rid of a pesky Deathspeaker or a pesky Root Spider. It can also provide all the threshold that you need for the double water spells that you have. And the only two double, or the other than the Fate Changing, which is only one, both Atlantean Fate and Ruler of Thule cost 2 threshold. And so this can be a great way to get both threshold that you need while also dealing with some pesky sites. A unique interaction as well with Atlantean Fate. If your floodplain is adjacent to an opponent's ordinary site, you can actually flood it with floodplain and still get the drowned effect. So thank you all so much for listening and watching today's video over the 4-color Deathspeaker deck that I took 4-0 at the Reaper Games local tournament here in Denton, Texas. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Continue to stay tuned to this channel as we're going to have different deck profiles as well as TTS gameplay videos. I hope you have a great day. Take care.